Alright, hello and welcome to the very first episode of the PokemonSpeedruns podcast. I'll be your host Amoeba, and as this is the first episode of its kind, we're going to spend, a minute or two just going over some admin, mostly just to talk about what this podcast is going to be about and what I'd like to see it become. Most of the podcast is going to be fairly free-flowing. I'm just going to be chatting with guests about the recent news and PBs from, mostly from this year for this first episode. However, this section is going to be a little pre-practice just to make sure I get everything that I need to say in. So obviously, yeah, we're going to cover news and developments in the Pokemon speedrunning community. It's either going to be monthly or fortnightly, not 100% sure. It kind of depends on how much content we have. I want to see, in 2 weeks' time, do we have enough to do another podcast? If not, it'll be a monthly thing. But it's the kind of thing. It's it's still in development. We're gonna mould it as time goes by. And yeah, we're gonna be covering both route changes and PBs. I don't want this to just be a PB stream. I don't just want to go, hey, this guy got a PB, this guy got a PB. We want to look at routes as well as much as we can. And that's also means that we're not going to be limiting things just to the top of the leaderboards. We would like to, concentrate on every aspect of Pokemon speedruns. We want to look at anybody that gets a significant run or PB, regardless of the position on the leaderboard. A significant PB to someone might be, it might be a 5-minute PB, but it might take them from 100th to 50th. That's still a significant PB to them, and it's worth paying attention to. So that's the kind of angle I'm looking for here. We're also not going to be limiting this to the main series. We're going to be including side games and eventually fan games and ROM hacks. Mostly due to popularity of the main games, it's going to be mostly the main games. The side games see a little bit of interest, and the ROM hacks are fairly quiet, but as and when we know things, we'll cover them. And related to that, I'd like to apologise in advance if we miss anything or if we have misinformation. I've personally done most of the research with help from the people on the podcast today and others giving info and input about their own runs. We're going to get something wrong. I can guarantee it. This is the first episode and I'm an idiot. It's going to happen. Please don't shout at me. I have done my best. Please let me know though. That's one of the most important points. If we miss something, I definitely want to come back and revisit it on the next podcast. I want to go, hey, we missed this and this was important, or we got this wrong, and this is why. And again, related to that, one of the most important things to this first podcast, please give us feedback. I'll be uploading the run. Wow, great run. I'll be uploading the video to YouTube following this stream. YouTube comments are a great place. I've got a Discord, join me on my Discord just if you want to put a longer comment. The more feedback I get, the more I know how people want this to be. I want this to be useful to people watching it. And the more feedback you give, the more I will know, and the more we can shape it from there. So yeah. I've also got a Twitter if you want to DM me on there as well, but I definitely, if you want to give good long feedback, Discord's probably the best way to go. So yeah, that's pretty much all the admin out of the way. So for the inaugural episode, I would like to welcome my special guests. I have the current black-white 80% world record holder Crafted.
Hello.
And another black-white 80% runner, Scoagogo.
Hello.
Actually, the Japanese 80% world record holder by a technicality, I believe.
Indeed.
So yeah, we've accidentally created sort of the black-white speedrunning crew on this podcast for the first episode. So yeah, we definitely have a black-white section coming up, because we all know a little bit about this game. The other two guys more than me. I'm the loser in 8th, I believe, aren't I? So yeah, I think for the first thing we want to talk about, almost certainly, is going to be, pop this up, the new red route and specifically the new runs that are popping up with the red route. This is Exarion's pace spin, which Exarion's a bit of a madman for pace spins. And I mean, I can pop a link up in the description for this. Well, I mean, what is to say? The man does some work. I don't know if Crafted or Scoa, did you see this run live? I'm not sure if he streamed it.
I believe it was done offline.
Oh wow, offline PBs. Not a fan. No, I'm joking. But yeah, it's. I mean, how long's this route been around now? It's not long, is it? It's like a week or two.
Yeah, it's very new. Exarion's run was the first record with this route.
Yeah, it was the first 146, I think, if I'm remembering rightly.
Yeah.
Which, funnily enough, we've got a few notes for this, and the notes still at the moment say Exarion's world record. But I think it might be worth throwing this little image up, which would be an image that is it WSOP boy?
Yep,
That's how you
WSOP.
pronounce it, yeah. This would be an image of the splits that he threw into Discord yesterday. So we have some last minute news.
Which, that one was also done offline.
Yeah, all these offline PBs.
Sometimes nice to do offline runs to focus.
Oh no, I'm a massive fan of the offline runs. Sometimes you can concentrate on chat a bit too much. And you end up making the odd mistake. But Scoa, I think you pointed out for these splits, I think the interesting part is that Koga time save.
Yeah, that massive, what is it, like, it's over a minute time save between the Pokeflute and Koga.
Yeah, well, we haven't got a video of the run yet, so we can't know for sure, but I'm guessing that's due to Sylph Red Bar.
Yeah, probably time.
Which is where you get Red Bar off your rival's Gyarados. I think it usually saves about 40 seconds, so I'm not sure where the rest of the time is made up.
I imagine because I imagine his existing PB before this will have been on the older route. So, but that doesn't affect, like, it kind of evens out by the time you get to Koga's Wheezing, doesn't it? But I don't think the new route would have affected that. So I imagine must just be a chunk of or a time loss in the old PB.
I know where the time save on Pokeflute over the record comes in, because Exarion got burned by the Growlithe in Lavender Tower, which is like the unfortunate part of this run. His run, I think he said it was a pretty good run apart from that one time loss there.
Yeah, it's because you can actually see, because he's got the local recording up, which we've just thrown up on stream, and you can see the point where he gets burned, and it's more than a moment of hesitation, because I don't think that's something that's typically recoverable. Like, Exarion is a bit of a madman for on the spot decision making, and he definitely recovers it, but this is not a great situation to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new route that was it Exarion that found it? I know he wrote up the pace spin.
I'm not sure exactly.
Nah, well, I'll probably attribute it to Exarion. Let us know if we're wrong. But the new routing, it all kind of kicks in around Mount Moon, doesn't it? Because they cut out the optional Super Nerd, is it? And end up just fighting a hiker on the way to Bill.
Yeah, because the old route, you used to fight the Super Nerd and the Lass, and then they stopped fighting the Lass a while ago, I think. And then now they skip the Super Nerd as well. And then you do the rocket fight as Nidoran instead of Nidoking, which makes it a bit harder. But then you can use a rare candy and the Moonstone to evolve before the Super Nerd, the required Super Nerd at the end. Is it a super nerd at the end? I think so.
Yeah, it is. Guiding the fossils, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking at the pacing, it's almost a bit doom and gloom for a large section of it. The post-Misty section, many ranges are worse. It definitely seems like he's got extra risk attributed to it, but cutting out optional trainers is always a fantastic thing.
Yeah, there's damage range on Venonat, which I think wasn't there before. The Oddish range is worse. The Bulbasaur range, I don't know if that was before, but that is now.
To be honest, all of those that you just said, they were 100% on, according to his pacing in the old route, they were 100%, and now the Oddish goes down to a 55. That Oddish is a killer as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it has some bad moves.
Yeah, what is it? It's paralyzed or stun powder, and
Sleep
something
powder.
terrible. God, yeah. I think you have red bar as well, don't you? And it's got absorb, which can't be a great one if you're low.
Yeah. But I think it's the best, probably. It's better than stun spore or sleep powder.
Out of the options, yeah. So I mean, what's the potential time save? So if potentially 54 seconds, which is chunk. It's a very large chunk.
This route is benefited a lot by instant text. I think it is still better even without instant text, I think, very slightly, but instant text benefits it a lot.
Of course, yeah, how recently was it they brought back instant text for the main category? I don't remember.
3 months ago?
Yeah.
I think,
2 or 3 months ago.
But what that means is basically you can't menu, or otherwise you lose the instant text. So you want to keep it for as long as possible. So you can't menu for the whole of Nugget Bridge all the way to Bill, and then also when you go down to the SSN, you can't menu until you teach car. Well, you can, but you obviously lose time, so you don't want to. If it's all possible.
Yeah, it's instant text is it was sort of bemoaned when it was first found, wasn't it? Because it created such a large amount of risk in the run, and that's what sort of created the do we ban it, do we not conversations.
Yeah, but I believe Manip has made it more bearable, maybe.
well, more reasonable to play that risky, or kind of remove the risk of it. So we've got, well, in the past week. Oh no, Exarion's run was nearly a month ago. I didn't realise. So yeah, Exarion pulling the first 146 with this new route, and pay attention to the leaderboard over the coming days when WSOP uploads the video, because he'll have the first 145. That's good things from them. So I think move on to the next one, which I think is going to be a very comfortable one for all three of us, and that would be the new black-white runners and the new PBs from existing runners. Black and white has kind of oddly seen a lot of runs this year so far. Crafted obviously with the big news for the sub 317. But then,
it's been very active recently compared to the past, basically ever. It was never really that active.
No, I mean, how long did Vulligen have the record for?
Vulligen had it until 2016.
Yeah, there was the longest standing Pokemon record for a long while, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2014 to 16, I think, something. And then there was a route change in 2016, which saved quite a bit of time, I think.
Shout outs to Lucario in the chat, another one of the black-white runners.
Soon,
yeah. And to Simply Cosmo, who unfortunately couldn't make the podcast due to timing screw-ups. We were going to have the full active English black-white crew, basically. But yeah, Scoa, you've got the 3:19 on English and the 3:25 Japanese world record.
Yeah, indeed. The 3:19 admittedly was a really good run up until Skyla, but it fell apart. I got flinch air slash twice in a row on Skyla, so I couldn't actually kill it or spawner, so I lost a good 40 seconds there, and then I made quite a few execution mistakes in the Desert Resort, which lost me another 40 odd seconds, so...
Desert Resorts, I'm not a fan of that section. Biking through that is difficult.
That was actually like the worst execution in my PB was in the desert, and it was the bit that I practiced the most because it's the hardest, so it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But
it's not something that comes across, I think, in the recordings when you watch the runs. It's actually somewhat difficult to see where the deep sand is. I have to get my face really close to the 3DS to be able to tell where it is. For anybody not familiar with the run, you have to bike through the desert. It's the fastest way of doing it, but biking in deep sand is significantly slower than running in it. So you want to bike around it and you want to run through it where you have to run through it. So the path you end up taking is obnoxious, to give it a nice name. Yeah,
it's really hard with all the slopes as well, because going up slopes in really awkward ways can slow you down quite a lot as well.
Oh, sorry, Crafton, I'm about to pull up your movement in Desert Resort.
Oh no. No.
You bonked into the NPC in the gate on the way as well. He did move in front of you. That's.
Oh dear.
There you go. You see the example of the movement in the deep sand.
So yeah, that's. I knew it was bad.
Oh, I don't think I've ever had it be good. Oh, you run upwards there. Mental note for my runs, I don't do that. This has been a useful podcast for me already.
That bit was alright. Okay, it was just the first bit that was terrible.
World record holder. A terrible run will be beaten soon.
Yeah, so my run, basically, it had a slightly below average start, but then the rest of it was like really solid. Especially the ending. The ending was like amazing. The Elite Four was pretty consistent. There's only like one thing that can go wrong, which is if you get Cursed Body from Jellicent. Like nothing else can really go wrong in Elite Four. But the last two fights, and if you get bad pressure around, you can lose time. Eprom won't go down in 2 hits, and it gets more chance to use light screen, which really sucks. So I have a good dash room. On the final fight, I had the absolute perfect fight.
Sorry, Crafton, I'm just going to interrupt you real quickly because I think you're going super robot. It might be my connection. Oh no, I seem to be okay. You want to just try talking again, Scoa? Can I hear you? Oh, it might be me. Oh no, disaster. We had this happen just before.
Hello.
Ah, hello. Okay, so it reset itself quickly. That was good. Do you want to try that one again?
How much did you hear?
You went kind of robo around the Getsis and N fight description. Yeah,
so N, the only way that can go wrong is if you get a bad Reshiram and don't 2-hit the Zekrom, and then it gets more chance to use light screen, which sucks, and that's how that fight can go wrong. And then Jetsis, in my PV I actually got like the perfect Jetsis fight, which
I remember watching that live, and because you were on comfy 3:17 pace, but you needed like basically perfect luck in the last 2 fights to get the 3:16.
That's the thing actually. I don't know about other people, but when I was doing the run, I wasn't thinking about what time it could possibly get. Like I was just focusing on the run. I don't know. Yeah. I just find it helpful not to really try and work out what time is possible or anything. I was just kind of doing the run. I know some people were saying in chat oh, it's this pace or whatever. But I just kind of ignored them.
We weren't saying we were going pretty mental. the point where you went that end fight was perfect, and your chat went nuts. But
yeah, on Jets, it's so I got toxic hit on the first turn, and then so you want toxic on Reshiram so he doesn't use it on Embor, and then I switch, and I get protect every turn that I set up, and then when I finish setting up on the turn that I attack, he didn't use protect, which is absolutely perfect.
Nice.
Can't get much better than that.
Yeah, the late looking at UPB now, and you got some serious late game golds. Bryson and the Elite Four split.
Oh yeah, Bryson. The variance in that split is getting endures from Cub Jews, and I got 0 endures.
Yeah.
So that was really nice.
I think you're going robot again, judging by the chat. Well, I can just about make it out. But yeah, if we take a look at the leaderboard as well for recent runs. So Crafted's been running it. I think you only spent a month or 2 running it, didn't you? Obviously, you just spent more learning it, but
I think I spent about just under a month learning it and running it, I think.
So I mean, hell of a time, honestly. We actually look at your sneak a peek at your profile. But yeah, all within the same month. Went from a 325 to a 316. Crafted is a robot. And then Scoa, you got your 319 about the same time?
Yeah, not long after I got my 319. Crafted got his 316.
Yeah. So, we've got Sinstar sat in the middle. He was like the original rerouter, wasn't he? For the older route.
He was the one that came up with the idea of keeping Rock Smash throughout the entire game.
Yeah, it seems silly, but it's a really.
It seems silly, but it's worth it for that for the one fight that it's actually useful. Because previously the route was on Marshall's sock was to use flamethrower 4 times because it had sturdy. So you'd flamethrower, he'd heal, you'd flamethrower, he'd heal, and then it was just back and forth until he stopped healing.
Or you got a burn.
Or you got a burn, yeah. It wasted so much time.
You end up being so over-leveled in this game that it actually wastes time right at the end, because you've got nothing that can do a little bit of damage to cover sturdy.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So yeah, we've also got Simply Cosmo, shoutouts to Simply Cosmo in the chat. 2 days ago, nets himself 5th with a 323. We've got Woodland. We'll be covering Woodland's profile as well when we come to the leaderboards later. He's been going a bit mental in multiple games. 324 as well, and then there's little old me in 8th with a 325. Literally the worst person here in the past year. But yeah, I've done 2 runs. It's a fun run. I'm enjoying it. I'm struggling to get another one going. For well, Lenora's not being very kind. I think you're having a similar issue with Japanese runs, weren't you, Scour?
Literally every single thing that can be going wrong is going wrong with my Japanese runs at the moment. I'm getting constant, really good paces, but they all keep dying to criticals or ranges.
Worth pointing out as well, Scour is currently the #1 for the Japanese leaderboards at the moment.
And it's worth completely ignoring the run because it's so terrible.
Unfortunately, yeah, you are the only person that's really submitted a run on there in a year or so. But the Japanese scene is quiet.
Oh yeah,
there really is no Japanese scene for Black and White 1 anymore.
Something quite interesting actually. Japanese is usually faster for Pokemon games because obviously, like, Japanese has less letters, like in the average sentence. But in Gen 5, English text is 2 characters per frame, while Japanese is 1 character per frame. So the text actually scrolls slower in Japanese. So we think that's actually slower in Gen 5.
That's actually incredible. I was not aware of that at all. I'm just
also the run is slower because they include the credits, but the credits is only like 3 minutes. So it's like a
Yeah.
3:22-ish with English timing.
I calculated it's a 3:22:37, I think it was, with English timing.
I'm just going to highlight the terrible run will be beaten soon quote. Garfield's actually put up a great point in the chat that my time is definitely the worst because I run on 3DS.
Yeah, all those load times.
I said I took a quick, not the most accurate timing test, and I think it, like, across 20 loads it lost a second or something silly. Like, it's not that much at all. But yeah, that's the
adds
black
up
white. No, it does. Yeah, that's the black-white leaderboards at the moment. Lots of activity. Definitely some people to keep an eye out for. Scoa's pushing for both English and Japanese runs.
Eventually, yeah.
Simply Cosmo again. I mean, how many PBs has Cosmo had now?
I think it's 3.
Three in a month. Gone from a 3:32 to a 23. Yeah, there's plenty of people to watch here. Cough, watch Amoeba cough. Yeah. I think we may have done that one to death. So the next one we would like to look at is we've had some new developments in Gen 1 to 2 glitched runs, and PokeGuy84 has basically taken a clean sweep. So he's had any percent NSC on Pokemon Red for a few months now, but in the space of 5 days took yellow NSC, gold, silver any percent, and crystal any percent. For a comment on the final one of the 4 gods of glitch Pokemon speedruns are all me. So I can't say I know a lot about the glitched runs for Gens 1 to 2. I know you know a little bit about Crystal Crafted, or at least you did for like an older route. Oh no, we lost Crafted. We lost everyone. Am I on my own? I'm on my own. Oh no, I have to entertain the people.
Hello?
Hello.
Cry, okay.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. I think my computer freaked out. That may have been an issue on my end. Are we both back?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I was
Yep.
just saying about the crystal any percent. I don't know if you know anything about the current route for that one, Crafted.
I'm not sure exactly what the new strat is since I last ran out, which was like about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But
They're awkward because they change so often.
I think oh no, it uses something to do with the lottery ID, I think, with the glitch. I think that's the new strat.
Oh wow. I know he commented about he got first try bad clone, which I think, if I remember from watching a couple of runs, is like it's like the save corruption part, but it's really, really finicky.
Yeah, you basically just have to turn off the game frame perfectly.
Wow.
And it used to be that it was kind of down to luck on the old route whether you got it or not. But I think it's you don't need the proper bad clone for this run. You unlike the old route, you just need the sort of bad one. I don't know a good way of describing it.
The kind of bad one.
Kind of bad.
Yeah, it's any percent. Well, the kind of any percent categories for generations 1 to 2 are a bit difficult to talk about because of the rapid changes. People like String Flow and Interpreter putting in big work to destroy these games in awful ways. Like, some of the things that they do in these runs. I can't believe the Red Blue NSC's come down to 11 minutes now.
Yeah, that was like 50 minutes when the category was first created.
Yeah. Well, I remember Yellow having a massive gap with like yellow NSC and red NSC having a huge gap in time between them. Now they're a minute apart. But yeah, if you're interested in how these runs work, definitely recommend going and watching the runs and asking the runners. We're not too knowledgeable, but even if we were, it's very difficult to keep up with the changes in these runs, the new routes. It uses a lot of RAM writing and reading, so you see like odd things like the PB's doing at the moment, where they're just doing very bizarre movement. It's all very clever technical things, and we could sit here, if we knew everything about it, we could sit here for hours and explain what they're writing to where, why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah, I really do recommend just checking out these runs. Oh no, I think we've lost Scoa again. He's typing in the chat. Oh no, I can hear him laughing. Hello, Scoa.
I am here.
You went a bit robot for a second.
Oh no. Yeah, Discord's great.
Discord's a great program.
Yeah, Pokey Guy just destroyed everything recently.
Yeah, I mean, you've only got to look at his profile. Like, first. What a nutter. And it's not like he's just a glitched category expert either. He's times in everything. Second place in red, blue, any percent glitchless at the moment. Like,
oh, he's been going for the yellow record pretty recently, and he's got some good paces there.
He's
so you could see that soon.
Yeah, 155 at the moment in third place. Yellow is a tough game there. Yeah, definitely another man to watch, especially if you like the glitch categories. I think for our next one, we're going to go into crafted territory, as I'm calling it.
Ah, yes.
Because Platinum has had some developments, and I don't think I'm at all experienced enough to talk about this, so if you want to take this one away, Crafted.
Alright, so basically, for a very long time, we basically thought we couldn't minute past this cutscene because, firstly, the RNG is advancing during all the text boxes. So if you look at the bottom screen, you can see the Lua script, which shows when the RNG is advancing. So you'll see it advancing during all the text boxes. But we have ways to deal with that, like earlier in the run. That happens a couple of times, but we have like ways to make it consistent. But in addition to that, when the Rowan cutscene's going on and when the Fashion Case Guy cutscene's going on, the RNG advances differently. So you have to end the Rowan cutscene on the same RNG frame in order for it to be consistent past there. And when you get the Fashion Case and you press A to clear the text box after that, the RNG advances a lot. You'll see on the video when it gets there. So you have to clear that on the same RNG frame as well. And then you also need to leave the city on a consistent RNG frame. So you've got to find 3 windows where the RNG is not advancing for a decent amount of time for you to not have to mash like frame perfectly, basically. And what I've got with my minute is it's like a 0.5 window for the Rowan cutscene, which is you just go as fast as possible there and you'll get it every time. And then for the Fashion Case, it's like a 0.53 window. But the issue with that is I've got to wait a little bit to get to that window, which makes it a bit inconsistent. And because there's no queue apart from the little arrow in the bottom right. You can also use an audio queue, but that would mean you'd have to start the fight on the same. You'd have to use an audio queue to start the fight as well, because the audio like continues from where it left off. So I just use the little arrow in the bottom right. I wait for it to go down 5 times, and then press A, and then I've got a good window for leaving the city. After that, I just have to mash fast through the text boxes. So yeah, and that allows you to basically manip as far as you can do good movement. The thing that really kills it after that is you have to mount the bike, because you can buffer like all the movement, apart from you can't buffer by mounting the bike. So it's quite hard to manip. Like in Heart Home City, you have to mount the bike, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So it's really hard to get past there.
Do you reckon it would be feasible to not jump on the bike for the sake of having consistent manip? Obviously, you'd lose the time for biking it, but you just lose too much time. Really, all it does is just means you can guarantee a spinner pass, which you know you could just risk. I would just risk the spinner rather than running all that way. But yeah, so yeah, as I was saying, we thought we couldn't manip past this because of all the things that I said. But then MK found a way of doing it for Pearl any percent last year, and Worcester routed out like the rest of the manip after the cutscene, and made it so that we could not use any repels, which allowed us to skip a mart. So that was a really big time save, along with the consistency of being able to dodge all the spinners. So that was really good for Pearl any percent. And then I think Underscore routed it for Platinum any percent. And then Worcester routed it for Pearl Glitchless. So all that was really left was Platinum Glitchless, which I did it for recently. And yeah, so it's basically... sorry.
With this, I don't skip the mart like in Pearl any percent, because you still want healing items in this run. Like you want super potions and antidotes. And also I need repels, because the forest has like 100 or so tiles of grass, where the only thing advancing the RNG is the grass. There's no NPCs, so it's basically impossible to find like 100 tiles with no encounters on any of them. So I do use a repel there. It's interesting the way we do it in Pearl any percent. We don't use it there. We do that by there's one encounter and we skip it, because every 128 steps the RNG advances by the number of Pokemon in your party. So it's routed so that when you get to that encounter tile, you get to the 128th step and the RNG advances to skip that encounter. So that's pretty insane how that's routed.
Does it take a lot of extra steps, or is it just does it work out quite nicely that it's the amount that you need as you get there?
It takes a few extra steps, but it uses those extra steps to advance the RNG by basically crossing a load line a load of times. So it advances the RNG because you want to advance it and increase the step count. So it kind of does both. But yeah, Worcester routed that.
That's clever.
But that's pretty insane. But for this run, I haven't done that. I've just used a repel. And Worcester does that in Glitchless as well, just uses a repel rather than trying to find a way to manip that, because it would probably be slower to manip it than just using a repel.
Makes sense, yeah. If you already buy in for the healing items as well.
Yeah.
You've got like an hour and a half of perfect movement in Platinum now then?
Yeah. If you want to get it all the way. Which, yeah, I don't really expect to get it past Heart Home, to be honest, with all the bike mounts, but I have routed it for the spinner after that. What I basically do is, if you look at the description from that video, I written all the NPC movements out so that I can check that the minip's working at any time.
Wow. Oh, I thought this was movement around the spinners. So I did see this list.
No, this is NPC movements.
That's insane. Why do you have this video unlisted? Just amazed at the work that's gone into it. So, have you actually managed to get the extended minipin runs yet? Like, because I know you've been trying a few attempts recently.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got past the cutscene a few times. The furthest I've got is up to the forest though, because I did a movement error. Basically, when you go past the spinner, you have to walk, obviously, because otherwise the spinner looks at you. And then then you've got to run like one tile after, and I walked an extra tile. I didn't think that would actually affect it because of you bonking into the next NPC, but it did. So,
jeez, yeah,
that was a shame.
Another one to watch there then is Crafted with his platinum attempts. Because aren't you still? You're in second or third on the leaderboard at the moment. But that's not even
second.
with that's not even with extended minute. Like, this category could have some amazing runs coming up then.
Yeah, it's not too big of a time save, but it's got the consistency of dodging spinners, which is nice.
Get more runs going later for. Yeah, the more attempts you get going, the more likely you are to find a luckier run later on. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think for our next one, we're going to sort of visit Gen 6 and sort of visit Gen 3. Because there is a new Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire world record by Eddaket. And Eddaket's been going in hard on Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire recently. Actually running on the Ruby version, which is unusual for the top level runs. I think all the ones previously have been done on Alpha Sapphire, but I could be mistaken.
I think there've been runs done on both.
Yeah, I know it's kind of viable. There's viable routes for both, but it seems like up until this run, the top level runs were mostly Alpha Sapphire.
Up until Eddaket, the top two were both Alpha Sapphire. The rest of them seem to be Omega Ruby, though, down towards the bottom times.
Yeah, I actually managed to speak to Eddaket on Twitter about his run, which was nice. Shout outs to Eddaket for actually responding to my nutty stuff. He's got a few comments on it. Potentially looking at getting a 305 if he can get the luck to go his way. So yeah, we were showing the Maxi 1 fight just then, where he survived with 4 HP on a turn that the Mighty Inner should have died. Yeah, Eddaket also putting in Japanese times, a bit similar to you, Scoa. Although I think he said he only did 1 or 2 runs. So that also brings us to the other point. We have a new Japanese Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire record from Ringo169. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about Ringo as a runner, but he certainly seems happy with his run. Shoutouts to a very high quality potato cam, because he doesn't appear to have a capture card.
I think I've seen his name on a few Japanese leaderboards.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I went going through the leaderboards, I think he shows up a couple of times recently. I think it's him. Yeah, the massive Brawly time save on his splits. Ahead by 2.5 minutes after Brawly. Not quite sure what happened in his PB beforehand, but it's a 3-minute PB, so a lot of the time save happened in Brawly. Yeah, Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire getting some love. I think it's been fairly quiet for a while, judging by the leaderboards.
Yeah.
After Sinstar's run, I think it died down quite a bit. Sinstar's placeholder run, as he's deemed it.
3 hours and 10 minutes exactly. We should point out as well, I think a runner called IMAX has a time in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire under 3 hours 10 minutes. Doesn't
3:05.
Yeah, it's like a 3:05.
Yeah, not on the leaderboard, I believe, because he doesn't want it on there.
I think he has a 3:05 in both Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Wow.
Or like a 3:06 in one of them or something.
Yeah, so shout outs to IMAX. Big runner for the newer games. I don't think he's touched Gen 7, but Gen 6 he's got some good times in XY as well. Yeah, we've got Pulse Effects as well, has been putting in times on All Eyes. Coming from Fire Red Leaf Green. An interesting move, I'd say.
Oh, he's also done, I think, Ultra Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
been
believe he's
doing
done
a
that
lot
recently.
of Ultra Moon recently.
Looking through as well, we've got Rybeans and Psr Shori. Might as well cover the entire leaderboard while I'm here. Shoutouts to the theme disappearing then. For some reason, the main leaderboard theme is just bright white for me. Yeah, nice to see, considering how quiet it's been for a while, people doing runs as the game came out, but not a lot recently, so it's nice to see some new love for it. I think Eddaket as well did he do an Oraz run in the Psr Marathon last year? Except he did it with Torchic?
Yeah, he did it with Torchic.
Yeah. Remember that, that was a... I love the alternative, like, starter runs. Quite interesting to see one in such a late gen game. Which, conveniently, I think, segues into our next point, which is the announcement of the Psr Marathon for 2018, which we don't actually have a ton to say about. There's not a lot to talk about really for it, other than they've announced the date for August again this year, and committee applications, I believe, closed a week or two ago. So yeah, I'd expect to see more news as the committee works on new things for the marathon. Yeah, this was the Fire Red Leaf Green race on Pulse Effects and Tyrant. This would be the same Pulse Effects from the last leaderboard, so we've got a great little connection there. That was accidental. But yeah, I'd say definitely keep an eye out on the PokemonSpeedruns Discord. The admins post updates there regarding the marathon. Especially pay attention for submissions if you want to do runs. Anybody planning anything for the marathon? I know I am, but I'm not going to say what.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
planning to submit to it as well.
Are we all keeping it secret? We're not talking.
I've said before I'm planning on putting black forward for PSR this year.
Should get a black race going. Get as many people doing a black race. Submit like a 5-way black, because what it is Crafted, you, me, Simply Cosmo. We'll get Woodland. Try and see if we can get him in. See if we can get Buster.
Drag some of the old runners out as well.
Yeah, we'll get Sinstar out of his cave. We'll get Buster.
Track down Sinstar and Ryosotis and get them in as well.
Yeah, we'll just have this. Every other game will have 1 or 2 runners, and then randomly we've got this Gen 5 game with like 8 people in it. That'd be fun. But yeah, definitely one to pay attention to. Shout out to RX Fades in the chat. Long-standing committee member for the Psr Marathons, does a lot of technical work, and also ruined the first marathon. So yeah, definitely pay attention for the news regarding that. I think for our next one, this is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine. We're going to talk about pinball. Of course, it wouldn't be anything produced by me if we didn't talk about Pokemon Pinball, because it's just required. More people should be playing this game. But yeah, we've had a new category, and with it a bunch of new runs added to the Pokemon Pinball leaderboards. And it's complete Pokedex, and it's not catch them all. I'm gonna make that distinction now. Complete Pokedex specifically because of ambiguity in whether the Johto starters can be caught, because you get the complete Pokedex ribbon without finding those, and we have absolutely no proof that you can actually catch those Pokemon other than websites saying that you can. But yeah, this is my nice little game. I love this game. The speedruns typically the existing speedruns were all very short, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, so it's interesting that we've now got a 10-hour category as it stood. The first time anybody did a run was by Skate for a Living a couple of years ago, and I think he finished with a time of 16 hours. So I don't think the category was particularly... people were particularly looking at the category considering that kind of like entry point. But 360 Chrism, after playing the game casually for a while, decided that he would like to give it a go, and actually managed to bring I think he got his first complete run down to 10 hours and a handful of minutes. Since then, GCar finished this run days ago, 29th of April, for 7.5 hours, or 7 3/4 hours, where he got extremely lucky with the rare encounters, but got very unlucky with common ones. So yeah, you certainly pay attention to these leaderboards. There could be there's definitely been a lot of interest. I've seen a lot of people throw up messages saying they want to run this game. It's sparked some new discussion for the old pinball game as well. Retro, you can go and run Pokemon Pinball, catch them all if you want to do the original. Go nuts. Rubber Ducky Assassin as well. There've been lots of people talking about this. I've attempted a run of this, which didn't go very well. Cough cough. Yeah, I've seen people who haven't speedrun the game before talk about running this, so it's definitely one to pay attention to. It's a fun run to watch as well, but maybe not all of it, because it is 7.5 hours long. Yeah. And I am just going to mention, this is really, really cheeky, but if we go over to the miscellaneous category, I got a new world record. Haha. That's it. That's all I'm going to say, because that's a terrible category. Sorry guys, I absolutely just rambled there, didn't I? Nobody else really said anything else. But I love pinball. I love pinball.
Isn't it correct that you didn't know until recently which Pokemon you could catch, or there was some that you weren't sure if you could get?
Yeah, that's the issue with the Johto starters. There's the information for the game is sparse and conflicting. So like Bulbapedia and Cerebi don't agree, and as it turns out, neither of them were completely right anyway. But a lot of websites claim that you can catch Chikorita, Totodile, and Cyndaquil as a very rare encounter. The requirements vary depending on which website you're checking, but there is absolutely no recorded evidence of anybody ever catching them. The best we have is somebody has a screenshot of a save they have on emulator with data in the Pokédex, but that's very easy to game shark. And they said themselves they're not sure if they game sharked it or not.
That's suspicious.
Yeah. Well, no, they were actually tweeting at me to explain. Oh look, I've got a save file. But then they said, oh, I played this years ago. I don't remember A, how I got them, B, if I got them legitimately. So I think they were being honest about it, but they did have the data there. But we got around that. Purely by name. That was why we named the category Complete Pokédex, because you actually obtain a complete Pokédex ribbon once you catch every main 201 Pokemon, and it doesn't require the Johto starters. So even if they are obtainable, they're not required for the speedrun. But it's almost certain that they're not. I mean, you've got people spending, doing 10-hour speedruns where they catch every 201 unique Pokemon, and we still have nobody recorded catching it. So I'd be extremely surprised if it's that rare.
Yeah. So do you think it's like an event or something? Or is e-reader?
Yeah, that's the one. There's reports of e-reader cards for pinball. But it's what makes it so awkward. The e-reader is kind of Japanese only. There's English e-readers, but I don't think they function with English pinball. And even then, there aren't English Pokemon pinball e-reader cards. There's only ones in Japan. They were a super limited promotional item for, I think, a magazine or possibly a pre-order. So nobody can actually get hold of any anymore. So we can't really tell what they do. Even if we had hold of the cards, we'd be able to tell what kind of code they were injecting or running in the game. But there's something somewhere. Somebody knows something, but we don't, and nobody seems to have recorded it, unfortunately. Yeah, I love pinball, and I will stop rambling about it now. I think for our final main point, we're going to cover the new manips in Pokemon Yellow. Specifically using a video by Ty Kevin, a very active Pokemon Yellow runner and community member, does a lot of instructional videos. And I believe there's this new Yellow manip's a fairly recent one to get through Mount Moon. And yeah, I'd really just recommend watching some of the inputs while he does this. Like, I know the red blue manip has got a few presses, but he like mashes the A button at some point and it's all like tile perfect. It's a really incredible piece of manipulation. Yeah, I believe Gunner's using this in runs actively at the moment.
Yeah, shout outs to the people who find the manips.
Yeah, that's big shout outs to the kind of hidden heroes behind the speedruns. Stringflow, yeah. Interpreters I don't know if he's as much manips as he is other kinds of tech, but yeah, this is tired, like a lot of work to do this kind of research. And if you're interested in this kind of thing, I'd really recommend checking out Ty Kevin's YouTube channel. He does a lot of these kind of instructional videos for Yellow. You get an input viewer as well, which it just makes it a lot easier. If you watch the input viewer now, see someone like they use A and B button presses on specific tiles to manipulate encounters, or specifically not getting encounters. Initially it doesn't go too nuts, and then suddenly he's pressing A on like every other tile in the room following to manipulate not getting any encounters. And all of this is like movement perfect. They have to be they have to walk on exactly the same tile. They have to press the right buttons on the right tiles. I think even clearing text boxes in Yellow is like perfect, like not frame perfect, but they have to be perfect with clearing the text boxes with the right buttons.
Oh, when you pick up an item, you don't have to clear it. You just have to buffer the pickup, and then it will clear it automatically.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's me showing my rust for Gen 1.
I'm not sure if this manip uses it, but some manips use opening the menu as well, because you can buffer opening the menu and closing it.
Yeah, he does a quick menu flash as like one of the very first things, I think, straight after the save. If you're wondering what a menu flash is, yeah, they can buffer that as well. There's a lot of that in Gen 1 though, isn't there? Lots of menu buffers and just buffering in general. It's a bit strange for menus compared to the later games.
Yeah, it's got a lot of menuing techniques, which if you execute them well, it looks really smooth.
Yeah. Shout out to that one video by Xarion where he covers all of them.
Yeah, I think it's his PB from about 3 years ago, but they all still apply.
Yeah, it's worth. Teckle has just mentioned in chat as well. Ty Kevin's been working on Yellow tasses for a while, and he posts the updated task times on his YouTube. I can't say I know much more about them than that, but tasses is that's another It takes a lot of work. That's what I'm going for. I can't think of the word.
Yeah.
But yeah, the amount of work that goes into tasks is nutty. I think there was a video as well. I think I saw it through the Speedrun Reddit where they found a bug in yellow. I don't remember what that was. It was like a new bug found.
Was it the options thing?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, so you buffer some input when you and it changes. You buffer some input when you open up the options thing, and then it changes all your options instantly.
Jesus.
But I think it gives you a really bad audio setting though, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, is it?
But it gives you like
gives you
all
the
the
stereo
good
is
options. It's like some headphone thing
Oh,
that sounds really bad.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose that's useful for nips again then. They can do that potentially. But yeah, definitely check out Ty Kevin's channel. Does a lot of work. For well, I love instructional videos anyway. Things like Garfield's Gen 5 manip video. Anything where they go in depth with what to do and how to do it. Because I'm stupid and I need a step-by-step guide. So yeah. I think with that we are done with our main points. I would again repeat a point I made at the start of this podcast. Apologise if we haven't covered something that you thought was worth covering. It's not by choice, it's purely by ignorance. I won't have known. Please let us know, comments wise, if you think we missed something very important. But yeah, I think we'll finish this off with a quick skim through all of the leaderboards. We're going to look at new runners and PBs across all of the leaderboards where they apply, and give you an idea of who's doing what and who to look out for. The only one we're not going to go super in depth for is Red Blue, because there are thousands. There are so many. It's obviously such a popular game, but how big is this leaderboard now? 295. Nearly 300 runners, and there's effectively 4 different main categories as well. The other ones being somewhat less active, but still it's a bit ridiculous. But yeah, looking primarily at the top 10 at the moment, with a secret. There's a secret 0th place for WSOT Boy who's not arrived yet, but will be here. But again, Red Blue looking extremely active at the moment. Only 2 times in the top 10 not set this year from Gunnar and Keyser. Everybody else, you've got Quay lagging, Fran Chewbacca, Detepich, Hasselback, Aya, Ivan, Pokeguy. Fairly big names currently for PokemonSpeedruns. Ivan putting in a lot of big runs. You'll see him pop up later in the Gen 2 leaderboards.
Yeah, I think the new route is very strong for Red and Blue, or Red, just Red.
Yeah, I don't know how many of these would have been on the new route though, because I suppose Xavion's was a month ago as well. But
I think all the ones about a month ago.
yeah.
Yeah, but most of the top 5 probably used the newest route.
I know Pokeguys was a really good run on an older route, wasn't it? Unless I'm thinking of a different one, but might not be.
No, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Pokeguys was before.
Just pulling up, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, so my apologies, but Detepich, his profile, and points out that his first run was 2 months ago with a 154 in red, and in a month's time he's already got a 149. I definitely think he's someone to pay significant attention to. I think that in a month's work he's top 6 in Red Blue. Like that's significant.
Very nice improvement.
Yeah. I think Fran Chewbacca was the same as well, if I remember rightly. Highlight. Oh no, Fran Chewbacca quite an established runner. So yeah, PBs over the last 9 months. still seriously good progression there. The 3-second PB 6 days ago, excellent. Good sign of consistency. Way lagging, I'll point out that name because you'll see him again later in a different leaderboard. OSL Weed, sat in the chat at the moment, hello. Nice 12th place there. Yeah, there's a lot of new runs to cover here, so we won't be going over every one of them. Pointing out any significant ones we see. Got Flutz there. Well, it's a PB. That's confident. I like it. Yeah, we've the kind of get past the 154 point and it's looking quiet. A lot of people using the new route to push the way into the 153s and 152s. Tyrant, the 156. Somebody needs to shoot that boy. Shiru with the 156. The Emerald crew not looking powerful on the Red Blue Lords.
I think these are old times.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm being awful. 2 years ago. Yeah. Very old times. Etienne, I believe it's pronounced Etienne. Yeah, a bit of a varied runner there. Been in Crystal and Red PBs. Excuse me, I had to cough. And then shout out to this username, Glass of Bootleg Milk. Again, another one that's going to pop up in a later leaderboard, so another name to watch for. It's interesting seeing you get some runners like Dirtepich, who's only run, according to his profile, Pokemon Red, and obviously with the time to show for it, you know, top 6 time. Then you get other runners like Quaylagging, who's going to show up in a couple of other leaderboards, you know, top 10 time in Red, and he's done a lot of other runs this year. So it's interesting seeing the mix. Some people lend themselves to concentrating on one game a lot, and other people do well for jumping about the games. We'll have a look at the other leaderboards. The Red Blue leaderboards had a bit of a shift up. Was it early this year or late last year, where they kind of combined the Japanese and, well, they didn't combine this, separated out the Japanese and English leaderboards, but gave new versions of each, because the Japanese rule set is different, and obviously it runs on a different language.
Yeah, the Japanese rule set didn't allow Pokédoll, instant text, and hard resets.
Yeah.
So now that's the classic category.
You see a lot of like
those rules.
Established Japanese runs 7 or 8 years ago, and this is the classic rule set. That's what the Japanese ran to. So now there's an English language version for that, which Exarion sits on top of that one as well. But I believe these were just sort of testing the waters in this category. You can see they're all from 3 or 4 months ago, when the leaderboard was sort of created. So there's definitely,
I think that was Exarion's first finish run.
Yeah, so there's definitely more potential to be made there if somebody takes a good interest in it. A bit similarly for the standard glitchless rule set on Japanese language. We've only got 4 English runners doing the route on Japanese language, so not killer times on this leaderboard yet. But again, if somebody takes an interest, there's definitely potential. If we move over to the NSC board, we've obviously got Pokeguy, as we covered earlier, reigning champion at the top from 4 months ago. We've got two or three new faces in the top 10. We've got David Poco and Genesis, both scraping in for a tied 9th. And I believe he had somebody else. Oh yeah, Vivek pulling into 7th. So NSC being a bit of a, it's more, I wouldn't say it's more RNG than any of the other runs, but because of the short length of the run, it's more dependent on RNG to get a better time. So
yeah, it's encounters cost me a world record.
Yeah, that's a bit nutty. Killer Hurts as well, nice 22nd there. Says he's got a good run, but still learning, so potential there. Definitely someone to watch out for. Seedent, 1333. wants better. IB cap 1248. Yeah, lots of NSC is a good sort of an entry point for the a lot of people for Gen 1 runs. So it's sometimes interesting to run through and see who's there, and then 5 or 6 months down the line you see them posting big times in the glitchless leaderboards, or sometimes catch 'em all leaderboards.
Yeah, I think it's because of the shortness of the NSC that it attracts more people into it.
Yeah, it's kind of an easy category. It's not an easy category to do, but it's not a lot of investment to get a run out of it. Yeah, shout out to Worcester actually took the NSC record 6 months ago. His time only beaten by 11 seconds since then. So
yeah, it was tied with Pokeguy whenever he got it.
Yeah, Pokeguy exerting his dominance in the glitched records. I believe Catch 'em All has been somewhat quiet. This is another leaderboard that's gone through a lot of fluctuation with edits to the rules to make the category more interesting, I believe it was. So we've got Crazy Dan and Eddaket actually taking 2nd and 3rd this year, but that's it. Not a lot of new faces past that. The actual Catch 'em All run now looks ridiculous to me. It's a collection of glitches. I don't think I have the intelligence to understand what happens in any of these runs. Like, I watch it and my mind is boggled.
They're absolutely insane.
So I remember the cool trainer glitch. I've somehow managed to switch to a point in this VOD where he's just running in the grass. That's great. There we go. See, that looks nutty. You get things like this where they catch a Pokemon and then save and reset in the battle to then remanip another Pokemon, and it's just I'm lost. Like, fascinating stuff that somebody can figure this out, but I am lost. Like, watching this madness. I remember the days of Cool Trainer being a thing. I don't even know what it was, but I remember it being a thing. That was a glitch. Eddaket saves you. Go on, man. Sorry.
I think it was using Ditto's transform and then switching the move order and mess things up.
Yeah.
But it was luck dependent, so people didn't like it.
And there's the reverse badge order leaderboards. This was became quite a popular category for some people. Quite a unique idea. You take the game and glitch your way to beat to beat each gym in its reverse order. And again, we have Glass of Bootleg Milk, still a great username, popping in at 8th. Otherwise, a fairly quiet leaderboard again. Popularity seemed to spike around the time that the leaderboard came through. Some people pushing through. Some people starting with older runs, and then the popularity gained for a while. So hopefully we might see some more runs there. Again, Glass of Bootleg Milk might be one to watch. Definitely the red-blue runner there. Actually only posted one PB in each category. Definitely a new runner. Possibly someone to really pay attention to. From there, we'll move on to our next game. If speedrun.com will work. Please. What is this? Oh, there we go. My page just died for a minute. So we're going on to Pocket Monster Stadium, which, if you're unfamiliar with this, is the Japanese version. Well, it's not actually the Japanese version, it's like a version of Stadium that was initially released in Japan, that only released in Japan?
Yeah, it doesn't have all the Pokemon.
It does not, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's excellent. But yeah, obviously it's a Japanese run, and I believe Worcester picked up a copy and has basically dominated every single leaderboard. So we've got Poke Hero posting a couple of times before Worcester had started running it, but Worcester has really destroyed every leaderboard here. Not a ton I can say about it because I don't know a lot about stadium runs in general, but it tends to be, there's no real kind of cutscenes. It's all in your move choice and your team building.
Yeah, there's a lot of luck, the skill I think really comes in the routing beforehand.
Yeah, no, very true. Because it's almost like rental Pokemon, isn't it? You have to select your teams based on what the game has. Alright, from there we'll go to the yellow leaderboards. Exarion picking up the current world record back in January. And again, I think Crafted mentioned that Pokeguy's going hard for the world record time, so he's within a minute, which he picked up a month ago.
And Gunnar is also running yellow.
Gunnar's been hammering for it as well.
It almost goes without saying though, doesn't it? I feel like Gunnar's always on yellow.
Yeah, if he hasn't got the record, he's definitely on it.
Yeah, Gunnar's always one to watch for... Didn't WSOP beat this? No, WSOP beat the red-blue record. Not on the leaderboards yet, but he did. So yeah, if we scroll down the leaderboard a bit more, we've got Juan Li Hui's with his 157 yesterday. Managed to sneak that in just in time for the podcast, I'm sure. We've also got Psr. I know Psr was very happy to get sub 2. Been working on yellow for a bit. Also a pinball runner, obviously got great taste. What else do we have? Yeah, I always find it...
Trainer.
Pseudo Trainer? Where are we?
15th, he got his 21 days ago.
Oh yeah, right underneath, yeah. Right underneath Psr there. Yeah, a couple of sub 2s there. I think sub 2's the good target time, isn't it, for a lot of people? Like, that's what they feel.
Yeah, that seems to be the goal for a lot of Gen 1 runs.
I think it's quite telling us for the yellow leaderboard as well that the times never really go above 2:30. Like, there's a lot of like casual runners for red blue that are down in the 3 or 4 hours times right at the bottom, but yellow is like such a difficult run that if somebody's finishing it, they're finishing it with like at least a 2:40 time. So we've got Tommy Lee Smith right here with a 2:32. Again, very first run on any leaderboard, so lots of potential there to see him jump up. I think Megot's time is the 2 controllers. Yeah, 2 games, 1 controller. So that's Megot's is a very established runner. He actually got that PB by playing both red and yellow with a single controller at the same time. So that's why that. So a 2:31 there is a bit ridiculous considering. There's SCF3 as well with a 2:09 2 months ago. That's another name to keep in mind. You'll see that one pop up in a couple of other leaderboards. Definitely someone that's jumping around games, getting interesting times in a few of them. But yeah, that's... Oh, I've just read my notes. Apparently we need to look at pseudo trainers. Oh yeah, that was it. So pseudo trainer, another runner that's only running 1 game specifically. But look at the times and how rapidly they're getting them. So in the space of 3 months, gone from a 2:12 to a 1:59. Like that's rapid progression. Definitely somebody to watch out for, especially in yellow. Like it's kind of amazing that they've finished that many runs in that time. Yellow is a hard game.
It's a brutal game from what I've seen. Apparently the Elite Four is brutal.
Yeah, it's just that's quite a resume already. So. I say, guys, if you're looking for new runners to watch, you know all the Twitch links are on their PBs, on their profiles. Sorry, so just head over to speedrun.com. I believe there was nothing to talk about NSC wise other than. So yeah, yellow again getting the same category treatment for the main categories. Nobody really touching the Japanese glitchless yet. And token runs really for the English classic runs. NSC obviously big guy, pokey guy at the top. Some notable runs underneath, mostly because of the new route, which I believe Interpreter actually created. If I remember from his YouTube description, if I take a cheeky look at this YouTube video. Oh no, it's not this one. I'm just an awful person. Nope. I must be remembering something else, so I'm not quite sure what that is. That's a great piece of research there, Amoeba. Good job. But yeah, the top four all set within this year, within the last 2 months. So NSC categories are getting some love at the moment. Catch 'em all, not so much. Pink Panther, the only new run for yellow catch 'em all. With yellow catch 'em all not being that commonly run a category anyway. So we'll move on to, I think it's Stadium 1. Oh no, it's Hey You Pikachu. So I can't say I know anything about this game, but there's been 3 new runs added, all by Japanese runners, including a new world record, which unfortunately we don't have videos for any of them. So the best I can do is show you the highest video time. But I don't even know how this game plays. At the moment he just seems to be looking at a Pikachu. So I've got no clue. If you're interested in that, I would highly recommend looking at it. I couldn't tell you a damn thing about it. Next we've got trading card game. We've got some new runs here. GTN TG picking up a 2nd place a few months ago. And possibly not more interesting, but an interesting point to make is 000 AJ. 6th place on the leaderboard, but it's actually the highest full game time, which would make him the technical world record holder. TCG has an interesting, well not interesting, sort of sad part to it, that there is a 6-minute tutorial at the start of the game that adds nothing to the game, to the speedrun whatsoever. So a lot of people have opted to run without the tutorial, which is why you see this no tutorial on a lot of runs. So it's basically starting the game with a save file that starts after the tutorial, just to skip the boring parts out. So realistically, you haven't, in a technical sense, you haven't taken the game and beaten it from start to finish, but you've done the interesting bits. You're not skipping anything gameplay-wise. But yeah, that being the highest full game time would technically make them world record holder. Strawberry White Block still sitting comfy with his 50-16 at the top. But GTN TG threatening. Less than a minute away.
And also, just to point out that the times without the tutorial, the time of the tutorial is added to the time. So it's like a fair comparison. Yeah,
it's not like they saved the 6 minutes. It's 6 minutes and a few seconds, I think. Let's have a look. I can't see it. Oh yeah, 8 minutes and 3 seconds of nothing as well. It's a bit of a shame that the game's got that at the start, because it's a very fast-paced run. I remember that especially if you've played the game, like an understanding of how quickly they menu. I mean, you've only got to look at that. Like the menuing is ridiculous.
Then you don't really understand what's going on.
If you haven't played the game, it just looks like a lot of screens flashing up at you, but it is nutty. So from there we go to Pokemon Snap. Again, another game that I can't say I know a lot about. Unfortunately, I'm not super versed in a lot of the side games. This one is a popular one though, I know, for a lot of people. We've got Zyrix picking up 6th place a month ago with a 21.15 in the any %. CC Neverender in 7th. And Calcium Lemon in 10th, so there's lots of like potential here for these people to jump into top 3, top 4 in the coming months. Snap is your game. I don't suppose you guys know anything about Snap?
No.
I know you have to like look at the sky or something to reduce lag.
Oh wow, that sounds like a game. That sounds like a 64 game. I feel like that's a strat in a lot of 64 games. Quo picking up the Wii U VC world record there a couple of months ago. And the 100% Wii U VC record. So yeah, they've obviously split these categories up. VC runs will run a lot faster than the original 64 games. It'll far less lag as well. So from here, oh no. I have to wait for this page to load again. I keep forgetting to not open it in a new tab. I hope you enjoy the white screen, guys. How are we doing? So from here we go to the English Pokemon Stadium 1. And from here we've got a brand new record by Silent Wolf, beating Worcester's long-standing record by a handful of seconds. And this is quite a significant PB if we take a look into the VOD. And there we go, he's towards the end of the run, he's 7.5 minutes ahead, so this is a chunky PB. Again, another run that benefits from a significant amount of routing, I believe.
Yep. There's a lot of luck with hitting Wall of Thunders.
Mm.
Yeah, I've seen definitely from watching Worcester that the stadium games are quite reset heavy, like all throughout the entire run.
Yeah, it's just pure battling, isn't it? You've got to have the luck. There's quite a few new PBs in the, 4th place Chill Magic 12 days ago, 5th place Kane, 6th place Kaito Monkey, 11th to Smart Ball. There's a lot of potential new runners here. SCF3 showing up again in 20th. Said that's still pay attention. That name will pop up further down the line as well. Yeah, Stadium quite a common. Seems to be quite a fun entry run for some people. The pure battling, no movement aspect of it. It's quite a pure Pokemon experience, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's quite easy to pick up because you can just kind of follow the notes and really just do the run with not really too much practice.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that I think the initial runners routing out really well has set a precedent for a good run.
Yeah, it's all about the routine.
Worcester put a lot of work into that, obviously. Into quite a few categories in this game, I believe, as well.
Yeah, like every stadium game and category.
Basically, yeah. It's the Japanese version as well. Getting a couple of runs. Worcester popping in a run a month ago. He actually says it's better than his English time. Very happy with the run. Goldazoa as well. So you could potentially see a lot more runners showing up here. And then every other category is pretty much Worcester dominance throughout. Like nobody's really touched him. Complete the game. 20-hour run by Worcester. Very silly. Very silly run. Excellent run, but 20 hours is a silly amount to be playing a game. He says with a 10-hour category in Pinball. And we'll move on to Gold Silver. And thus begins the Ivan Rosito saga. In the past 3 months, first place in Crystal, first place in Gold Silver, and a third place in Red Blue. This man is nuts.
And now first.
Now first in
Red Blue.
I thought that was WSOP Boy, wasn't it?
It's the same guy.
Really? Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. I'm an awful person. I didn't realise that was. I had no idea that was the same person.
Yep.
Jesus.
It's the same person.
Oh wow. Yeah. If somebody else want to take over, because I clearly need firing. Not done my research at all. Look, there it is. There's the link. Twitch.tv/WSOPBoy91. I'm great. So yeah. Oh, we're doing this on the fly then. Yeah. Clearly, nuts. Can you imagine if he gets the yellow record as well? Like,
I'd say probably go for it.
It must be tempting. He must look at like, this page as it sits now and go, "Oh, well." Once he's got the red record up, like, you kind of got to go for it in a way. I'd be really interested to see, because it's almost like I don't like to use the phrase, but I can't think of a better one. The new Exarion, for Gen 1 and 2. Exarion came in and was just dominant it's still dominant in tons of games, but that's kind of amazing. I know the Gold, Silver and Crystal have got the benefit of new manips. I know Crystal's doing the Entei manip,
that gold record was the first with Toaded Armanip.
Yeah. So.
The crystal record was before the new Entei Manip, and now Toaded Armanip as well.
But realistically, we aren't expecting these to sit at the top for long. Well, not the specific run, although obviously Ivan/WSOP could definitely improve it themselves. So it's interesting to see where these categories go. I actually felt a little bad. We were discussing whether we should make the yellow Manips and new routing a main point, but unfortunately I am too dumb to understand Gen 2. So we may, I'd say definitely pay attention. If you like Gen 2, pay attention to the next podcast. I think it's going to get a lot of coverage. They were talking last night in the Crystal Discord about Toted Armanip. So yeah, these are the categories to watch at the moment, I think. So we've got a couple of other recent PBs. Again, another showing for Quailagging, top 5 in gold silver. What does he say about his run? Happiest he's been playing a video game. That's always a good sign. Mickey Bergs with 8th place. SL Weed again. Shout out to SL Weed in the chat. Yeah, so this is definitely a category to watch out for. I believe the Japanese runs are fairly quiet. No real new developments there. Ringo showing up. Ringo will show up later. Oh, actually no, we've already covered that, haven't we? He was the ORAS record holder. So there we go. Ringo clearly an experienced runner for the Japanese runs. And then again, gold, silver, any percent, Pokey guy. The full glitch dominant. I don't think anybody else has put any new runs in. Interpreter getting a 3rd place one. So the placeholder run to show his improved strats. I believe that must be his routing that's brought about this new route, I suppose. L64T Chuckles, that's a great name. For the 13th. Yeah. And then fairly quiet past that. Millie Mozilla at the bottom there. So yeah. Where do we go from here? Pokemon Stadium 2. Again, I think this is the Worcester story again. Only new run being Goldazoa, popping in a new Gym Leader Castle round 1 about a month ago. Goldazoa's been doing some work in the stadium runs. Quite a varied runner, not just a Pokemon runner. So quite interesting to see what kind of strats he brings. I believe
Worcester did a few attempts of round 1 recently.
Alright.
I think just because he was doing Stadium 1 and then wanted to break from it, so he did Stadium 2.
that does sound like Worcester in a way. I feel like they're very similar. Or they must be quite similar runs. But I suppose if you're sick of if it's a bit of an RNG grind for one, you're going to be, at least it's a change of pace. Shout outs as well to 5 Upper Man.
Oh yeah. I think Worcester said, what was it, like, Stadium 2 screws you over in more interesting ways or something. I forget what the exact quote was.
It's more interesting to die in different ways. So yeah. Right, from there we go to Crystal. And literally, who is Ivan Rosito? Why is he at the top of every leaderboard? So 3 months ago. This was with an older version of Entei Manip, I believe you said.
I don't think it actually manips at all.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I wasn't really proper manip before.
Well, he says first try Entei in his comments, so I mean, if it's 3 months ago, it's got to be older versions. But there's definitely an Entei in this run, I think.
Oh no, he just searched for it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
God. Wow, that's a lucky one then.
if you skip to like 49.40.
Wow, check out this guy with the research. Why do I not have this written down in my notes, Scoa? Why are you doing my job better than I'm doing?
Because I'm better at skipping.
Fair enough. Yeah, the new manip, it's not stat manip, if what Crafted told me is correct. Just location manip.
Yeah, but I think there is some stat manip either happened or happening very soon.
Yeah.
It's like, I saw some discussions last night about it. Keyzeron's run uses the new location manip. He got third place recently.
Yeah, that's another one. Well, Keys wasn't or hasn't been back to doing runs very long before he got this PB. Obviously, benefit of the new route has helped out.
Well, I think he's running this at RPG Limit Break.
Oh
soon.
yeah, that's
So
one
look
to
out
check
for that.
out. Yeah, RPG Limit Break. What else? We have Hasselback scraping in a run this year, I think. We'll count that. We'll not pretend that doesn't count. Concer with a 15th. That's a polite note. Nothing like commenting the word shit show. Wanli Hui's showing up again with a 16th place. So again, wow, actually, look at that record. I didn't realise that when I saw the yellow one, but went from a 213 to a 157 in yellow in 2 months, and has gone from, has gotten a 324, 2 324s in crystal in the space of 20 days. Definitely someone to watch out for as well. That yellow, again, another one with an excellent yellow record there. What else do we have? Etienne again, showing up with a crystal PB. Fairly quiet. Oh, Mike 89 at the bottom.
Oh, he's he had the world record in like 2011 or something.
Wow, really?
And he must have just come back to improve his time a little bit. But I think he had like a 349 or something in 2011 before Worsted beat it.
Meaning to replace this old run for years, probably won't bother improving it again. Mid-game bores me to tears. Wow, mean. That's not very nice. And again, at top of the any percent leaderboards, we have Poker Guy. Makes for a change. And then Interpreter showing up for another second place. I believe this is the route that he created himself. Yeah, with a little note to the mods. This route manips an LID. I don't even know what an LID is.
Lottery ID.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I thought it has some part in the glitch lottery ID.
I love the thumbnail for this. It's just a whole collection of question marks.
Yeah, that's the bad clone, or the kind of bad clone.
Is that the bad clone?
That's the kind of bad clone.
The kind of bad clone.
The bad clone just has one question mark,
But
and is
the
level 0 female.
The bad clone is the good bad clone, the one you want, not the bad clone.
I'm confused.
This is an excellent speed game. I approve. So we'll move on from Crystal there. I forgot to open that in a new tab again, so enjoy the white screen. I'll get this eventually, guys. Like I say, this is the first podcast, so technical difficulties will happen. Technical difficulties being me too stupid to operate a internet browser. We won't open the Trading Card 2 leaderboards because unfortunately there hasn't been any new runs in a long while. Trading Card 2 being a Japanese only game, not really got the nostalgia factor for a lot of people. So we'll move on to Ruby Sapphire. Audible groan from Scoa there. Not happy with Ruby Sapphire.
The best game ever.
So not a lot at the top of the leaderboards. I know G Hines has been trying to get back into runs again, but this is a punishing game. That really can't be understated. It's the yellow of Gen 3. So we're looking more at the lower end of the leaderboard, but we've got Vindrelin with a 15th place, Wall of Spain with a 17th, and then
Cosmo.
Our very own Simply Cosmo down there in 21st. I believe that's his first run. Simply Cosmo will be showing up again later in quite a few leaderboards. Also a second run, but only been running it for a short space of time. And then, I'm not saying that name, but that guy in 22nd. And then if we go over to the Japanese leaderboard, we've actually got a Japanese PB by Atokiba, I believe. I probably butchered that.
Atokiba, yeah.
So unfortunately no video for this one. Posted the screenshots to his Twitter.
That's interesting. I thought Buster had a better run on Japanese.
It's on emulator.
Alright.
Let's fire up the emulators. Yeah, there we go. So emulator runs hidden by default for Gen 3 because of faster load times. Unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but understandably, but somewhat of a shame as well. And then a bit of an odd one. We have an any percent leaderboard for Ruby and Sapphire, but it only has a Japanese category because it's a Japanese only glitch. And Epic Dude Guy basically takes a free world record by being the only person to have completed a run. I think it's quite an interesting run. It uses a fairly established glitch of duplicating thousands of rare candies, which doesn't sound that interesting except for the Pokemon that they use. Because I expected if you duplicate a load of rare candies, you're going to level up a Swampert, because that's the Pokemon you've been running through the entire time. But Epic Dude Guy actually, if I can find a battle at any point on this Twitch VOD, please. Why is Gen 3 so full of movement? Oh, he does use a Swampert. I thought he used a Pelipper.
No, he used a Swampert the whole way through.
Ah, that's disappointing. I'm sure I saw him use a Pelipper at one point. Oh well. That ruined that surprise because it doesn't exist. Great. Me not doing my research again. But yeah, he... I don't know what point they can activate the glitch, but just over-levels the Swampert and whacks through the rest of the game. Still arguably the better any percent category for Gen 3 though. Then Pokemon channel, unfortunately not getting a lot of love recently. I would like to point out that the theme is gross. Please fix this speedrun theme.
Oh dear.
Oh, God.
Awful.
Oh gosh, oh dear.
And then we have covered Pinball, so I'll just give it a brief overview. Nothing particularly showing up in the two main field categories. There's a Banana right at the bottom of the Sapphire field, and 11 Brendan. Both of these guys coming from the Obscure Speedruns Club, which is a little Discord group that votes on obscure speedruns for the month and encourages people to run them to promote new runs. I believe Pinball made it in for February's obscure speedruns with a handful of other games. So there's a couple of new faces showing up on that leaderboard. Rubyfield being dead, and then the complete Pokedex obviously getting the new love from 360 Chrism and GCar. And again, pay attention to this one. I reckon a few more faces could show up there. Pinball Wiz in the chat has shown interest in this category. I'll just call you out there, my friend. Please get on with your runs. Because I know you've said in my chat that you were interested in doing them. Sorry for that, mate. Then we move on to Coliseum. Now this is a bit of an unknown for me. I know people are working on Manip for this. I don't know where it stands at the moment. It's definitely in the work for like starter manipulation for more consistent strats, because the resets in this game are harsh. I think they reset for hidden power on Espeon or something silly.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Hidden power and then a good special IV as well.
Yeah, so the actual stats they have to reset, and it's not a short reset either, it's a 10-20 minutes one. Only new face in this leaderboard this year has been Gino Kirby, who's been putting some significant work into this game. Japanese leaderboard's looking somewhat quiet again. Ringo showing up for a third time. So from there we go to Fire Red Leaf Green. And then the any percent, again, fairly quiet. Exarion made a very, very good time with the 203, and Pulse Effects was hot on his tails at the end of last year. And otherwise fairly quiet. We've got, where is he, Joke MS, I believe, or Jock MS, right at the bottom. But again, I think a first run, possibly a second. Definitely somebody to watch for the potential in the future. Clearly a varied runner as well. Lots of other games, so interesting to see where he takes that. Again, I think the Japanese leaderboard very quiet. Yeah, Ringo
at the top again.
Ringo again. I didn't realise quite how many times he'd show up here. Clearly a bit of a killer for the Japanese runs. Then Elite 4 round 2, we've got your very own Crafted. How are we feeling about these runs?
Yeah, so basically I came back to this about a month or two ago, and I'm not using I wasn't using like the best route. The best route is actually using Blastoise and then Mewtwo, but I like the Zapdos route better, just because it's more fun, and also I wanted to submit it to UKSM, and it's the better route for a marathon because you don't need like an amazing Squirtle, so you can use a non-minute Squirtle. And pretty much when I was doing attempts of this, I would get up to the end game like every time because I was doing pretty safe strats, because this category is all about like knowledge. It's the most important thing is just knowing a lot about the run. So by getting loads of runs to the end, I could get more knowledge and improve my PB a couple of times.
Yeah, for anybody not
my
familiar,
very old PB.
For anybody not familiar with the category, you have to catch 60 Pokemon to get yourself to the second round of the Elite Four, and it makes for interesting routing choices because obviously you're not going to sit yourself to exactly the same 60 Pokemon every time. If a nice bonus Pokemon shows up, you're going to catch it, and it creates interesting on-the-fly routing.
You have to think whether it's worth moving on from an area, or whether it's worth searching for a Pokemon in a certain place, and also when to evolve Pokemon. Like when should you go to the PC and take something out? Like you might need to withdraw something to trade, but then you could also withdraw some other things to evolve at the same time. So you've always got to be like paying attention. And also with the Zapdos route, you've also got to be paying attention to your Zapdos' stats, because you've got to do different strats depending on what stats you have. Because the Elite Four round 2 fights are pretty hard.
Yeah.
They can definitely go wrong.
Shout out to your Keezathon run, where I think you had some interesting stats on your Zapdos. You had like amazing speed but terrible special attack, if I remember right.
Yeah. I think the best nature for Zapdos is actually just neutral, because like minus anything is just bad for something.
Bad in some way, yeah.
But yeah, getting all those runs to the late game really helped for the Keezathon run, because I could pretty much do the late game, without concentrating too hard.
Yeah.
Because I've done it quite a lot of times. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I got sub 350, but I want to improve that at some point, certainly.
I think you got the run into UKSM, didn't you? So I imagine you'll be back for more practice.
And I'll probably try out the other routes. There's a Charmander all the way route, and there's the Mewtwo route I mentioned earlier. I'll probably try out both of those at some point.
Oh yeah, Snorms.
Seems interesting.
Snorms did I think most of the routing for Charmander Elite Four round 2.
Yeah,
Right. Shout outs to Snorms, he's a cool guy.
he did a few attempts fairly recently,
Oh yeah,
so I might see some of that.
I was not aware of that. I'd say I actually ran Fire Red any percent with Charmander for a bit. Mostly because I watched Snorms' run, I think, from 2016's Psr Marathon. And the Charmander run was astounding. Like, it's always interesting to see alternative. He saved the marathon, yeah. I can't really. Somebody had technical difficulties and dropped out, and we had a 2.5 hour gap to fill. So Snorms just went, "I'll do this run." That was it. Saved the marathon. Shout outs to Snorms. So now we'll go to the Emerald leaderboard, and we're actually going to click because he's shown up again. We've got Quay lagging. This is probably, I'd say, his most impressive run so far, but in general, it's the recentness of his runs. So, gold, silver, 5th place 3 months ago, and then a red, blue top 10 3 months ago, and now he's showing up in the top 4 for Emerald. And lots of PBs as well. You know, Emerald's been 3 months' work for him, and a 2:38 is a fantastic run. Using some safer strats, I'd say. Emerald's in a sort of a weird place routing wise, so it's not a bad choice to use the safer strats. You could definitely get a very good time. Emerald, unfortunately, not being shown a lot of love recently, apart from Shiru, who's just eternally on Emerald. God bless Shiru.
Yeah, Shiru finished routing his Abra YOLO ball into Taylor YOLO ball manip.
Well, it's not YOLO ball if you manip it to catch every time. That's the secret.
I mean, sorry, like just tracking the ball and catching, and yeah, he's been doing runs with that. He got on a really nice run recently. Unfortunately, died in Norman's gym. Yeah, but that was very far ahead of world record.
Shiru's potential is amazing, and the record is now outdated strats and an old run. So there's really potential for this category to explode, and we've got people in place to do it now as well. Shiru with his extensive manipulations. The switch to RTA kind of blew Emerald open a bit for manipulations, but Shiru's put in an astounding amount of work to figure them out. And now we've got Quay lagging as well, fairly new talent to the leaderboard showing up, so definitely ones to watch there. We've had recent PBs as well from Roush, who I believe is in the chat. Long-standing Emerald runner. Oh, I didn't click his profile, go me. So if we actually... ex-record holder as well for this category, so there's certainly a lot of potential there. But he's been around 3 or 4 years for this category. And I believe we had Mitsune, recent PB. Mitsune's been doing Emerald on and off for a while now. Be glad to see when he gets that sub 3. I know he's been chasing that for a bit. Retro Tato as well, not the first time he'll show up in this set of leaderboards. As you can see, Emerald being only 3 months ago, but a 4th oldest PB on his profile. And that guy again, whose name I'm not going to say, showing up right at the bottom with shiny Mudkip. I think we've had every shiny Pokemon possible in Emerald runs at one point or another. So Alan Pikachu picking up the shiny Mudkip. Vincento had a shiny Rayquaza in one of his PBs. Worst has seen the shiny Ralts. Oh, we haven't had a shiny Abra yet. That would be astounding. Imagine if Shiru finds Manip for a shiny Abra.
I mean, it's based on your ID, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think Tyrant at one point had an ID where if he reset and got the encounter pretty quickly, it would always be a shiny.
RX Fades is currently shouting up a storm in chat that he had a shiny Abra on a VOD on his old laptop, but he had one. So he's got no record. Guys, it totally happened. Absolutely happened. Please believe. So yeah, Emerald any percent, arguably not a great category, and not being shown the love because of it. it's a very odd category, so I'm not surprised that nobody's really running it. It's 60% exactly the same as glitchless, and then it's a 1 in 32 chance on a glitch, and then you just kind of stroll to the end. So I have the average on my route.
And then 1 in 4.
Yeah, yeah, you're not even done once you got the 1 in 32.
And quickly before you move off Emerald, Dahlia as True got PB in glitchless 4 days ago.
Oh, sorry, yes.
8th place.
8th place. Yeah, one of the few DS runners on the board. I did miss that. Excellent shout, sorry about that. So, the next game is a side game, if I remember rightly, but unfortunately a fairly quiet one. No more recent PBs. Yeah, Pokemon Dash, not particularly a popular speed game. Then we go to XD, lol, and this has had some work and some PBs. So Ryziken, another big name in the Pokemon community, does a lot of games, a lot of routing, propping up with 2nd place. I believe there's some, again, similar to Coliseum, there's manip in the work, or possibly useful. But, so yeah, you've got new 2nd place from Ryziken, 3rd place from, oh hold up, Tutela Fiber? Yeah, I did that, okay. 4th place from Smiley's. Smiley's an established runner in multiple other Pokemon games as well. 7th for The Only Juan. So, lots of kind of mid to upper level runs showing up on this leaderboard. I think with the addition of Manip, this leaderboard could potentially explode. Unfortunately, I can't say I know a lot about the Manip. I don't think we have anybody that does either.
No.
No. So, apologies for that one. That is a blind spot for us, but it's a sort of an odd game. I think it's in the works, minute wise. Troze, not particularly. No recent runs of that. I don't think it's particularly a popular speed game. Red Blue Mystery Dungeon. This was an interesting one when I pulled the leaderboard up, because we have Whom is DS with a pretty much a clean sweep on every single category. But mostly the single segment ones with a save and quit low percent. But yeah, these are all very, very recent runs. So not a recent runner, but in the space of 7 months has now taken 1st place in every category he's run. The Mystery Dungeon, I loved this speedrun when I tried it. I mean, admittedly, I tried the single segment one, and save and quit is a whole other animal. The game has very interesting manipulations if you allow saving and quitting. Mystery Dungeon is a hard one. Yes, Mystery Dungeon is a difficult run. I'm interested in some of these other categories as well. I couldn't even tell you what the All Icons run is, but it's a little bit longer. All dungeons are very long.
When you like load the game, there's like icons of the Pokemon that you beat. So I guess it's getting all of those icons. Right. So you just have to beat all the bosses, basically.
Right. So it's probably similar to All Dungeons, but
yeah,
slightly less because you don't have to go through the nutty ones. So yeah, definitely if you like Mystery Dungeon or you're interested in the runs, definitely go check out I don't know if it's Whom is DS or Who Missed DS. Oh, I think I just said exactly the same word twice. But...
Whom is DS, who runs on Wii U VC, not DS.
Yeah, the irony for that. But yeah, some other big runs showing up in the single segment seems to be the most popular category. Far less reliant, obviously, on save and quit and remembering movement. Mozzarella Cheese showing up in 2nd and Jirachi in 3rd. Lagging Gamer in 8th. Dig Big Jace in 9th. I had to pronounce that properly. So yeah, quite a few new runs showing up there. From here we'll go to Diamond and Pearl. So no new runs for Ranger, unfortunately. Don't believe. I'll just give that a quick check.
No, there's nothing I see.
No. Oh yeah. The Diamond and Pearl, Worcester. It's the Worcester story. So
Yeah.
glitchless, any % glitchless a month ago. I imagine
that
you can
was
elaborate on that, Crafted.
Yeah, that was with the extended manip. That was the main addition since my run. As I said earlier, you can manip spinners and encounters for a longer period of time.
They're just far more consistency.
And because in that run you get a lucky egg from a chansey. Because you can manip all the way to the chansey, you can manip the Bibarel and then the chansey to get the Bibarel first encounter. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's a nice consistent thing if you can get the manip that far.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So lucky egg obviously probably putting in a lot of work there as well. Like I think you manipulated lucky egg in yours as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So still only cutting your run by 11 seconds. So I mean, only a month old PB. So I imagine Worcester could do more with that if he wanted. Potentially.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to get all the Gen 4 records.
Yeah.
But yeah, that run can go down more. There's a lot of variance in it though, because kind of to do with the Pearl AI being completely random.
Oh god, yeah.
Kind of makes it a bit inconsistent. And then any %, he beat my time by a few seconds as well.
Yeah, 6. That was a little battle. There was a battle between you and him for a while when you were both led in that category.
When the extended manip came out, we both couldn't get a run for like a week or two, and then he beat my time before extended manip. He got a 58.22, and then on the same day I got a 58.22 as well. So, and then later that day I lowered it to 58.14.
Yeah.
And then I think 3 days later I got the 57.42.
Yeah,
which
I remember that string of PBs.
And then he wanted to improve his time, and he got the 57.36. The only difference between that and my run is he taught Mac Punch. We used to skip teaching it because it's the same power as Rock Smash, and you need Rock Smash to get past the boulders. But it's kind of good to teach it because you can avoid fake out from a Glameow because it's got the same priority, and then you can also use it for the last turn on Perugly, which means you take one less hit, which can save your life, and it can also save healing. So it's pretty good to teach it. In the best case, it's better not to teach it, but on average, it's probably better to teach it. So
consistency versus time save, yeah.
Yeah.
And then in third place, we've got Mr. Scoagogo. With
the run that started as a D-Rust and ended up getting really good towards the end.
One of the only 4 sub-1 hour runs as well.
Well, there were quite a few things that contributed to that getting sub-1. I hit every tweak first try, and I crit Mars's Perugly and got the 3 and 8 range. So it was a really good run. Besides the fact I hit a spinner and only got the manip to Rourke, but I'm still going to go back to that to get the record.
Wow.
Hopefully.
Big claims.
Hopefully.
You're gonna ruin Worcester's Gen 4 sweep.
Well, Buster's gonna do that soon, I think, as you'll see in a bit.
There's quite a few people who might do that. There's Retro on Platinum any %. There's Buster on Heart Gold.
There's you on Glitchless.
Yeah, Platinum.
Who's gonna do it first is more the question then.
Yeah.
I'd say Buster, probably.
While we're mentioning Retro, he's rounds off the 4th sub-1 hour a couple of months ago with his 59.50 in any %. And then really past that, it's been a quiet category. But these lower runs are on older routes, I would imagine. So retro again showing up a lot of times. So
yeah, the new route, the new void path, which was found about a year and a bit ago, January last year, saves 4 minutes. So like any times before a year ago, basically lose 4 minutes to just the void path.
Yeah, shout outs to MK Dasher. Cool guy. He's another one of your behind the scenes guys. Does a lot of technical work. Does a lot of work with tweaks, I think, for a bit, didn't he? Yeah,
RNG minute, the void path, and then tweaking. He found the strat of tweaking on cycling road to skip the cutscene.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff.
He also
Gen 4.
Also designed the Gen 3 manipulation tool for starters. So another one of those guys that's kind of more in the background, undeservedly so.
And also all the Gen 4 lure scripts, which are very helpful for routing.
Yeah. A lot of work he's put into that. So yeah, from here, Battle Revolution, again a fairly quiet side game, no new PBs there to show. We go to another Mystery Dungeon game, Time and Darkness, and the only one to show here is the new Wonder Mail free world record, effectively, because Halkari is the only person to have done it. But Wonder Mail's obviously, I believe, it's been, I think, like casual players of the game have figured out how the Wonder Mail code generates different things, so you could use Wonder Mails to create really easy missions that can produce really good items for you.
Yeah, there's Wonder Mail generators online.
Yeah, so interesting to see how that category could develop. Obviously, a very similar time to the no Wonder Mail time, so there's a lot more potential there. Could go down a lot further. Halkari, obviously, with his comment, not super happy with that time, calling it a bad run. So, one to watch out for. Another Ranger, nothing to report there, I don't believe. Has to check through this, a fairly quiet speed game. Then we go to Pokemon Platinum, and who are we going to see here crafted? Crafted in second place. Was this before Extended Minute? Yeah, this was when you kind of stopped running this game for a little bit at this point, hadn't you?
This was in January. I got that run. Then I was trying to improve it. Didn't manage to improve it, so I took a break.
And now you're back to the grind, so definitely pay attention to this one. I would say one of the potential worst clean sweep ruiners. We've also got, again, Woodland. Oh, not again, actually, we haven't seen Woodland yet, but we will see Woodland show up in further leaderboards. Putting in work on Platinum. We go to his profile, so you'll see him again in the black-white leaderboard. So, obviously a fairly new runner. These are only 2 times so far, but these are solid times to be entering the leaderboards with. 5th place with a sub-4 run in Platinum is very solid. Any percent getting a lot of love from Retrotato. I believe this has had some new routes, some new work done to it. I've seen people say in chat while we've been doing this podcast that there's been new work on this. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So Underscore has routed Extended Minute, as I mentioned earlier, and he's also routed Extended Minute from the Tentacruel Minute, which is done about like an hour in. You minute a Tentacruel, and then he's extended that to dodge spinners immediately after that. And I think Worcester is now working on a route. Underscore actually did this before, but it's basically where you get the Tentacruel without resetting. So you do it in a similar way to the Raikou Minute, but the difficult bit of that is you don't have the Master Ball, because it would just be slower if you got the Master Ball. So you've got to minute the catch as well, and that's based on the number of frames since you started the game. So
Wow.
but it doesn't include lag frames. So you've got to keep track of how many like potions you use and like different things to work out how many lag frames you've had, and then use that to determine when you need to start the fight. It's like ridiculous, but
frankly, that sounds disgusting.
We'll see if that actually happens. Yeah, it'd be pretty insane.
A fairly quiet leaderboard in a way, but I know it's a very technical run. I remember watching when Worcester first did it with the tentacle manips was a whole thing.
Oh, there's also a new tweak to skip going to the lighthouse to activate Volkner.
Oh yeah, that's a cool tweak. It's a surfing one.
Yeah, surfing tweak.
I've seen that video as well. It's a shame we didn't have that fired up for this. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, it's a guy called Fort Ran M or something.
Yeah.
He's done a task for Pearl Glitchless as well, and he's done various he's got like various glitch videos, like a glitch hunter and stuff.
Yeah, the tweaks are a bizarre one. They are Gen 4 exclusive, aren't they? You can't do them anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go on to the Mystery Dungeon Sky leaderboards, and Whom is DS shows up again for clean sweeps across a lot of categories. He picks up the miscellaneous special episodes and both of the any percent with and without Wonder Mail categories. And then we've got Mozzarella Cheese showing up in second place on both of these leaderboards and taking the first place on the quieter Beat Darker Eye leaderboards. This game seems to be getting a lot of love as well recently. I actually think Sky is probably the best casual Mystery Dungeon game, so it's nice to see it getting some speedrun love, though it is a lengthy speedrun. Then there's another Ranger game, which unfortunately again I don't think has had any new PBs. Nice quiet one. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one completely. There isn't another Ranger game, that's an old one. I'm just dumb as hell. So
Pokemon Rumble.
Rumble and the Mystery Dungeon WiiWare game both quiet. And then we have Heart Gold Soul Silver, which English-wise just has a Japanese runner, which is an odd one, but Buster Poke has been known to dabble in the English runs, and honestly would not be surprised if he destroys Worcester's time very soon.
He's had a lot of very good runs recently.
Yeah, he's been on pace a lot of times, going into Claire's gym, but then it's a couple of spinners there. And then, unfortunately, he doesn't do trash can manip. I think it's probably hard to understand because he doesn't know English very well, so it's hard to maybe understand like what the notes for it or something. So he doesn't do that. So he's lost a run to that, I think.
Oh jeez. Someone should make him a nice video. Help him out. Maybe not Worcester because he'd be stealing his record, but someone should.
I think Worcester's the only person who knows about it.
Oh no.
I don't know. Keyseron might know. I don't know.
No, Keith said the table confuses him, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
There you go, guys. Tweet at Worcester to save Buster, please. I think Buster scraped in the Japanese record this year as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So Buster looking for a clean sweep on the glitchless runs. Obviously, he kind of gets the Japanese to Lance run by proxy of completing the actual full length run.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
a bit of an old category.
Yeah. And then the Heart Gold Soul Silver any percent. I profess I know nothing about this run. But we've got Worcester and Tyrant taking the top 2 spots this year.
Yep, so that's a new route. Skipping Hidden Power, using a new Raikou, skipping Chuck as well, so you skip Fly, and new manips for Red and Blue.
Oh wow. So sorry, skipping Chuck, how do you just skip a dude?
You just, well, you already tweak in New Bark Town to like get to the league. You used to fight him to get Fly, because Fly saves quite a bit of time, but in the end it's actually slower.
Oh wow. Tweaks again, breaking the games wide open. Right, and I'm being shouted at in the chat by Rubber Ducky Assassin to say that Pokemon Rumble is not quiet, so my notes must be incorrect. Either
Collect
that or
them all with passwords 4 days ago.
collect them all.
World record.
There we go. 8.5 hours. Rubber Ducky picks himself up there. Technically a free record, but I know this man puts in his work to his side games.
Literally has every single record.
Is it really? I'm going to pull up his profile now. Let's have a look. Rubber Ducky currently going mental in the chat. Wow, yeah. Okay, so this, you can clearly see the work he's put into these into this game, purely from PBs alone. 3 years he's been running this game.
Self-verified.
Self-verified Dan's game is an absolutely valid point. But at the same time, who else knows anything about Rumble to verify it? So, Hero Fred should be doing his job. Shout out to Hero Fred. Too busy retweeting lost memes. So yeah, Rubber Ducky Assassin with the clean sweep across every category. Congratulations to him. Even the miscellaneous ones, and both subcategories. Ah no, Mr. RDA, would you like to sort that one out, please? You need to get the advanced all stages, no passwords. Otherwise it doesn't count.
Advanced all stages.
And same for collect them all, no passwords. Come on, man, you're slacking. All that noise and it's not even a full sweep. Moderately disappointed. Alright, so from here we go to the Poker Park, and again I must profess I know very little about this run. I did watch it in one of the Psr Marathons though. It was quite entertaining. We've got a fairly new face in Zelda Fan 01 taking second place. We also have Who Is DS taking a break from the mystery dungeon evidently to show up in 5th.
Nyan Latios as well, 7th. Just scraping out of the year, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 4 months. We'll count that. That's fine. Hello, Nyan Latios. So yeah, a bit of love being shown to this game. And then from here we go to our personal favourites, I think.
Best game.
Best game. It's my favourite game at the moment, so. We have the Black White 1 records. The records runs. We've got Crafted, obviously we've covered Captain World Record at the top. Scraping that sub 317 with a fantastic run. Scoagogo with his 319 a couple of months ago. Definitely looking to improve, I believe. Not happy with his time. I still think it's a very good run. Not at all jealous. Simply Cosmo in the chat with a 323. Only achieved that 2 days ago. He's been putting in work into this category. You can see from the PBs. Space of a month improved by nearly 10 minutes. Woodland, again, second time he's shown up in leaderboards with his very first run. And then little old me, down in 8th. I round out the last lot of PBs. Only my second run, and also running on inferior 3DS, so clearly a massive disadvantage. Yeah, black and white 1 getting a lot of love at the moment. And then the Japanese leaderboard as well. Scoa taking his record there. We have covered a lot of these already, really, so we probably shouldn't dwell. But any other comments for these guys?
Other than the fact I hope to improve both of mine. No, nothing else.
So from there we go to Poker Park 2. So not only did Poker Park 1 get some love, 3DS loses 25.5 minutes. I agree.
Technically world record.
Poker Park 2 also getting some love from Deathline. Deathline, quite a notable runner for side Pokemon games. I'm sure I've seen his name in there. Yeah, so the original Poker Park. A varied runner for a lot of games as well. So, somebody to watch out for.
Waterstone Gamer as well, last month.
Yeah, also, I believe, first run, if I remember his profile. Yeah, so again, another varied gamer showing up in a lot of other categories. Then we go to Black and White 2, which compared to its younger sibling of Gen 5 has been quite quiet. Although I believe I've
Shame,
heard...
because it's a better run.
I agree, yeah. It's a more varied and interesting run, for certain. But you did kind of destroy it, you and Buster.
It's quite hard to get into because of Joba Minute. I will make a video about how to do that.
Please tweet at CraftedIte, make the video. Yeah, Trev Pearson was... was it Trev Pearson that did the GDQ run?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so that brought a bit of attention to the game. Unfortunately, no new runners with it, but... Yeah, Crafted.
I'm getting into it very soon. As soon as I finally get past getting walled at Drillbur.
We've got Cosmo complaining in the chat about the Drillbur minip as well. But yeah, the big news here is, again, Buster Poke showing up with a Japanese world record a couple of months ago.
Oh yeah, so that run is a 3:14 with the English timing. So considering we think Japanese is actually slower, that is a really nice run.
Really good
Wow.
run.
I haven't watched it, but from the time it seems nice.
So yeah, Japanese text being... is it the same in... Is it one character a frame again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I haven't tested it, but it looks like it is.
Yeah, I mean, purely judging from the video, it looks to be like that. So yeah, not a lot of love there. The challenge mode is a quiet one still. Crafted still retaining his world record status there. Have you got the Gen 5 sweep? You have, haven't you?
Yes.
Humble brag.
Not for long.
Yeah, we literally have the Gen 5 king in podcast right now. I believe from here we go to XY. Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity, a very quiet game. Rumble U, I'll check Rumble U just in case RDA shouts at me. Nah, nothing. No, you can't shout at me for that one. Yeah, we go to XY from here, and we have Pulse Effects. Again, another leaderboard that he's showing up in. I think he's been running this fairly recently. I don't know if it's as recent as his Ultra Sun. No, not quite as recent. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I've lost it. Where are we going? Oh, and there's Emray as well. That's another name to watch out for. We reckon Emray's going to show up in... I think everybody's gone Robot Wars. I think I'm alone in the chat again.
Hello?
No, I'm here.
Oh no, maybe not. I must just be
No,
hearing things.
Emre
Sorry.
Emre got a PB a while ago. Actually in 5th. Just hasn't submitted it yet.
Alright. Wow.
Should
Please submit
split
PB.
the Discord. 350, 15.
350. Yeah, that would be 5th. Pop in Money Hype Mike there. Emre, another one to watch out for, says she's got interest in running Black White 1 as well. We could have another member of that crew. Like we don't have enough already. Keys as well, or getting a nice 10th place. 4th run terrible as a comment. Guess he doesn't like Gen 3. And then Mon Striker with a 15th place. With his very first run. So again, somebody else to watch for. I don't think anything on the Japanese runs particularly. No, fairly quiet game there. And then from XY to ORAS, we have already covered ORAS, so it'll be a brief overview, but eddaket taking the new record there. Pulse Effects again showing up in a later game for a nice PB. Apparently not satisfied at all by his comment. And then Rybeans with a 15th place, saving 27 minutes on his PB. Funky PB. And then a second leaderboard showing for Psr Shiori. I believe was in Emerald, or was it? Yeah, it was in Emerald. No, not Emerald. Or maybe it was just ORAS. I don't know. Maybe I forget. And then Ringo, obviously taking the Japanese ORAS record. I would like to just point out that Ringo is actually on this leaderboard twice.
Is he?
Yeah. Ringo's got first and second place. Congrats to him. Well played.
Unless there's 2 Ringos in Japan.
Maybe, yeah.
Or something.
Oh, because I know the Ringo brackets Japan has shown up on other leaderboards, so it's possible there's 2 Ringos. Yeah, we might need to
I've
ask.
actually seen Ringo under like 3 different things. There's one without the brackets. I don't know if that's intentional or not. But there's like 3 different things.
It's possible. Oh, IMAX as well, yeah. Worth mentioning. Again, IMAX for ORS. Not on the leaderboards, but he has a 305 on the English runs. Apparently on both. Or Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Cosmo was
Yes,
saying it's the same
good times on
Ringo.
both.
I reckon it would be the same Ringo. That doesn't surprise me. We'll check the Rumble again so that RDA doesn't shout at me, but there's nothing. So
There isn't anything, I've already checked.
Super Mystery Dungeon. Brand new world record for this one by Pestilent Box. Again, Mystery Dungeon. I believe the Super Mystery Dungeon was better received as a game than Gates to Infinity. Shout outs to Potato Can.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, you don't need capture cards to do speedruns.
Couldn't
With
be
the-
much worse received, to be honest, than 2 Gates.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I believe there was other PBs here as well. Yeah, like
No, with Rad.
Wuthrad in 6, and I think Like a Noob scoops in this year. Oh no, not
Nah,
quite.
December.
Well, he doesn't count. And then
Eh.
Polar Bear Swag with a No Wonder Mail record, and Mozzarella again, another showing for mozzarella cheese. What I imagine is a fairly new leaderboard, judging by the recent times of the runs. And then we go on to the newest generation of Pokemon games. We've got Sumo, and Wartab makes his first showing in Gen 7 at 2nd place. Not his first showing on the leaderboards, but the first showing we'll see today. Quite an established runner of Gen 7 is Wartab.
Trying to take Itotaka's record.
Getting very, very close. Is that less than 30? Oh no, a little bit over 30 seconds. Is there a significant difference between Moon and Sun for runs?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Was the leaderboard split between new 3DS and 3DS runs? 3DS not particularly seeing any love. And then again, Japanese not particularly seeing anything new. And then when this eventually loads, we'll go over to Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, where we will see Wartab's 2nd appearance. 2nd place again, looking to pop the Itotaka. It's obviously been a very recent game. All the PBs are kind of around this year for every run. Ringo making another showing on the English version. Surprise! I presume Japanese must be slower, or maybe it's just more competitive
Yeah, I think
for them.
I think Garfit said a wee bit earlier whenever we were discussing Gen 5 that's slower for a similar reason, sorry.
Then we've got Pulse Effects making his last showing. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Wartab saying that Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is completely different. So interesting that he's running on Ultra Sun and everybody else is doing Moon. So yeah, looks like judging from his comment, he's looking to improve that time still. Definitely one to watch for. I know I've used that phrase a lot, but there's a lot of talent in the Pokemon speedrunning community, and we want to keep an eye on it. That's exactly what this podcast is about. And realistically, with that, we have tied up the leaderboard roundup. I will just point out that Detective Pikachu has not had any runs. Somebody needs to get on that. Someone needs to speedrun the Danny DeVito game. So, but yes, with that, that's a nice solid 2.5 hour podcast. Wow, that overran. I did not realise we'd gone that long. But yes, we'll make my goodbyes short and sweet. Thank you very much, Crafted and Scoa, for being my special guests for this inaugural episode.
Thanks for having us on.
Agreed. Thank you.
It's nice to have insight from active runners. Needs more British people in this podcast. I agree. So yes, thank you very much for everybody that tuned in to watch this. Once again, I'm going to repeat the point from the beginning of the podcast. Please, please, please give us feedback. I'll have to move the Twitch VOD over to YouTube, as I had to kill the recording in the middle of this because I believe my computer lagged. But the Twitch VOD will be going to YouTube. Please leave feedback, YouTube comments, Discord, wherever you fancy. I'll take anything. If it's completely negative, if you thought this was not the greatest setup at all, please let me know. I want to make this as good as I can. But yes, thank you very much to everybody that watched. We will be back in either 2 weeks or 4 weeks. I'd say pay attention to my Twitter to see when I plan on bringing it back. Just all depends on content. Yes, this has been episode 1 of the PS podcast. Thank you again to my special guests, and good night.